Hello, Howie here with Cedar Creek Homestead, and hope you're having a wonderful day, and want to welcome you today to Porch Talk. And out here on this on the back porch on this wonderful day we're having today. And anyway, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about it's coming up to Thanksgiving time, and everybody's got a Thanksgiving theme, and I just want to talk about being thankful for just a few minutes. If you're not thankful for nothing, this probably won't interest you at all, but I think most will understand where I'm coming from. But I am so thankful. I've been blessed, and I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a big old fancy home, all that kind of stuff, but I've got a home, and I'm thankful for it. My bills are paid. I tell you, I've just been blessed, and I am so thankful. I really don't care about a lot of fancies in life. It seems like as you get older, maybe it's an older thing as I've gotten a little bit older. And I just turned 50 this year, so I've got a ways to retire. But it seems like a lot of things that used to matter don't matter anymore. And it seems like to me that maybe I'm a little more appreciative, a little more thankful as I get older. I look back and see how things could have been, and I've been blessed a whole lot more than I deserve. I've got a wonderful family, a wife. She stood by me through thick and thin, and I've had a couple of health times that I've had to be in the hospital, and I tell you, she's just been a blessing to know that she's been there with me and to help me. I got a wonderful son. He's 21 now. They sure grow up quick when they're little. You think they never will grow up, man. Before you know it, 21 years has gone by, and now he's a grown man and dating a young lady, and eventually I'm sure he'll be getting married, and then we'll be having grandchildren, and we'll start this whole cycle all over again. But I tell you, God has been good to me. Thankful for this YouTube, a means of getting to visit. Sometimes I get a little frustrated with it just because I get so busy. It seems like I don't really have the time to focus on it like I would like to, but and my videoing skills and trying to learn this stuff's been a little bit challenging, and getting videos to upload. But I listen to some of the other YouTube folks, and I see they sometimes have their challenges as well. But I do appreciate this because I've got to, and it's been just through texting. I mean, they comment on the videos, but some of you I feel like I've kind of got to know, and I wouldn't have got to know you had it not been for YouTube. And it's been interesting and fun to hear how things are going on at where you live at. Some folks live in town and tell their story trying to kind of like Homestead in town. And if I lived in town, I think I'd be doing the best with what I had, and same way. Some tell about challenges, that they have each year. Not able to plant because of the rain, or it's too dry, or whatever. And but I've always felt like that God's got it all under control. And some years, this year we've been very, very wet. But I have to say, as far as everything, it's been pretty good. There's few things that we didn't grow as much of in the garden, but it seems like that cycles from year to year. One year where something will do really well and something else won't do real well. And but that's just part of life, just how it is. And it seems like when you are around folks nowadays, there's a lot of folks that are unhappy. Very unhappy, and many think that money will buy happiness, and I think money is just a temporary fix, kind of like if you're sick and you take a Tylenol or ibuprofen or an aspirin. You temporarily mask the symptom, but usually that comes, you're still sick after that wears off. And so I think sometimes money is, when people come into money, they kind of have a little temporary, maybe they win. I remember meeting a couple one time that won a lottery thing, and they were real happy. When I first met them, they were extremely happy, and they hired me to do a little bit of work for them. And I went back and saw them probably a year later, and they weren't happy like they were. They won multi-millions of dollars. They got 2 or 3 gates you have to go through to get to their home because there was so many people. They had a lot of friends they didn't know about, and when they come into money, they had to buy homes other places and start traveling and just come home till to their base camp, you might call it, just every once in a while, just because so many people wanted to see them and bugging them. Their lives were changed. It wasn't the same old go-lucky life. They weren't happy anymore. Excuse me, that coffee's good. But it seems like money might bring a temporary happiness. Some say they wouldn't mind to be rich. They wouldn't mind to try being happy by being rich. But money doesn't buy happiness. But there is one thing that I think brings happiness, and that is just being thankful. Being thankful for what you have. Just stopping every once in a while to smell the roses. Every once in a while, I catch myself in this hustle and bustle of the way things are today. And it seems to me like people have less and less time, that everybody is so busy, just going. And at the same time, we have so many more modern conveniences. Just here on our little place, I have a lot of modern conveniences. There's some things that I've been able to buy and do that has helped me a whole lot here on this on the farm here. But then with all that, it seems like people don't ever take time just to stop and smell the roses. I'm surprised sometimes at folks, and if you're one of the folks listening and you do this, you're one of my viewers. I don't want to offend nobody, but I'm just going to tell you, a lot of times we hear folks say, oh, we've just got to get away. We got to get away from the kids. We got to get away from our house. We got to get away from this, and we got to get away from that. I don't understand that. When our boy was growing up, we had him with us all the time. And one time we left him. Now there was a time that my wife worked and we had to leave him at a daycare, and he would cry when we left, and he was so happy when we come and picked him up. And I didn't like leaving him at the daycare. My wife didn't either. And finally, she just quit work because once we figured out the price of the daycare and stuff, why, it was better. My wife wasn't hardly making anything. And then if you added in the wear and tear to our vehicle and stuff, it was cheaper, more economical for her. And she made the lesser of our incomes. And so, but she wanted to stay home. If she'd wanted to go the other way, I guess I could have tried to have done it. But I continued to work, and I think it helped him. It helped him a whole lot that my wife stayed home. But what I was getting at is we wouldn't leave him ever. We took him with us. We went to Walmart, we went to the movies, we went shopping, vacation, whatever. We just brought our boy along. We didn't even think about leaving him anywhere. And one time we did, our church had I think it was for Thanksgiving or Christmas, the board members, they had took us to eat somewhere, and the pastor said, no children. We're not bringing our children. Well, one of the couples one of the men that was on the church board, after we got there to eat, and we hated leaving our son, we left him with my wife's sister. Now, she's a good lady, and she'd spoil him, take care of him, but he did not like being left, and he was pretty upset. And so it made us feel bad that we had left him. And then when we get there, one of the other board members, they had brought their daughter right along. They had a little, really young daughter. I mean, maybe a couple years old, and our boy, he was probably 6, 7-year-old. But they said she didn't want to stay, so they just brought her, and we should have just brought our son too. And I wouldn't have expected the church to buy his meal. They didn't have to buy my meal. I mean, that wasn't the thing about it. It was just that folks today don't seem to really appreciate what they have, their family, their children. And I'll tell you, with children, there'll come a day when they get old enough that they want to go out away from mom and dad. They don't want to be with you all the time, and they'll come. That time comes, and then they want to go and do their thing. And my son, he's good to invite me to go fishing with him and hunting and different stuff. And a lot of times I don't want to go because I hardly ever go hunting with him. One thing, because I get too cold these days. If I go, we have so many deer today, and I go over here, and last year a big buck would come out, and I mean a big buck. And he come out several times. I got my gun on him, started to shoot him, and I was like, nah, I don't have anyone I just don't want to mess with him. I'm not going to shoot him. I'm just going to film him. And I caught him on film. I didn't think I'd ever get to that point. But so I don't go hunting a lot with my son just because I get cold. But he also brings his friends along. And I kind of feel like a fifth wheel sometimes. I'm not whining. I'm just telling you that's kind of what I feel. But we get to go do some things together, me and my son. And now me and my wife, we get to go do a lot of things that's just me and her because our son's grown. We would take him. We wished he'd bring his girlfriend and go with us. We went out to eat yesterday, and I went down to a place and thought we'd just go out to eat and go to Tractor Supply. And when we went, I'd like to have him with us. But it seems like if folks would just slow down and smell the roses, and enjoy the finer things of life. And I'll tell you, one of the things is right now, sitting on my back porch here, you can't see, I wish you could, the view. There's a hill, I call it a mountain back here. The sun is starting to go down, and it's got this hill lit up in a certain way, and it is just beautiful. The trees are turning, and I think people miss out. We'll sit on our back porch and out here and relax and enjoy ourselves, and people they miss out. They don't ever stop to just look and to smell and to hear and to see the good things about them that don't cost you a dime. This right here ain't costing me nothing to sit right here and look at this beautiful view that's here. But I'm so thankful. The Bible says in the last days people would be unthankful and unholy, and I certainly don't want to ever get to the point that I'm unthankful. In this Thanksgiving season, my mind goes back to the Pilgrims. When I was in school, I doubt they teach this way anymore, but they taught that the Pilgrims were thankful, and they had a Thanksgiving celebration. And what that was for was to thank God for the blessings that they had. And I actually take Thanksgiving as one of my most serious celebrations, and I take it as a religious pretty much celebration, even though it's not perhaps a Bible celebration like Christmas or Easter. But to me, it is a time that I take, and I want to make sure I thank God, and I want to thank others for what they've done for me and for their blessings and what they've meant to me. Some folks may not have ever given me nothing. That I'm not talking about material things, but there's people that have just been good friends and that I've had good fellowship with that I thank God for, and I want them to know how much I appreciate them. We get together here. We'll have our Thanksgiving celebration here at our house, and there'll be several people here. Usually we have somebody different. We'll have an addition each year. There's someone that comes along. We don't care. Folks ain't got anywhere to go for Thanksgiving and want to come here. We tell them, come on over and eat with us, and we'll have a really good meal, turkey and ham and all the fixings, and we just have a ball. And Thanksgiving's always been one of my most favorite times because when I was a boy, my grandmother, on my mom's side and both sides, was to go to Thanksgiving or a Christmas dinner at their homes was just, something you just couldn't hardly wait to do. and my grandmas have passed away now. And the last one just a few years back, but I think of how much fun we would have. And as kids, we would play and stuff, and we'd come in and eat, but we were so glad to see. A lot of folks now won't even get together. Families don't get together. They don't see one another. It's not a big deal to them anymore. Thanksgiving isn't. But we would get together, and it was such a special time. And my grandmother, when I went off to tech school, I told her, I said, Grandma, I said, could you fix us a holdover dinner? And she said, what's a holdover dinner? And I said, well, a dinner to hold me over till Thanksgiving, because I was fixing to head out to school and I wouldn't be back till Thanksgiving. And she got tickled, and a day or two later she called and said, well, Saturday, whenever we're having this holdover dinner. So it started to become a tradition that around in August she would call everybody over and we'd have a holdover dinner. But we used to, us guys would go deer hunting Thanksgiving morning and gather over at my grandma's house, and a lot of times she'd have a big old breakfast cooked up, and we would go and hunt and come back in time for lunchtime, and there would be a big looked like you were going to Golden Corral or something, just a big old she had a big, huge, long dining room table and a buffet thing, wood deal that she'd have covered with pies, and we'd all sit around and eat and visit. And later in the day, even if we left and went, we used to go quail hunting in the afternoons, and we'd go, all of us men would go. The women would sit around there and stuff, and we'd come back about dark time and we'd eat again if you wanted to. And no wonders I've always had a weight problem, because our celebrations were centered around eating, and I'm thankful that I've always had plenty to eat. I'm thankful that God has blessed me so abundantly, and I hope you are thankful. And I hope that if you think you don't have anything to be thankful for, that you'll take just a few minutes. And I think if you thought about it a little bit, everybody's got something to be thankful for. And here on the comments today, put what you're thankful for. If you've got something special, put it on the comments here. I'd like to read what you are thankful for. And we sure appreciate you watching us today and taking time out of your day to watch this little video. And I say God bless you. And if you haven't subscribed, why, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock here for Porch Talk at Cedar Creek Homestead. We're gone.